You know what's crazy though? We come from a wedding photography background, so we're allowed to say this, right?
I don't know what you're about to say.
It's like if we're a certain race, we could say something negative about ourselves.
Is that true? I don't know.
About ourselves, not your wife.
I'm in a weird situation where my son is mixed. Can he say things that I can't say to my wife that
and to you. He can do whatever he wants. Everyone, since the beginning of wedding and portrait photography, has kind of looked down on wedding and portrait photographers, right? I think all wedding photographers secretly wish they could be fashion and commercial photographers.
Yeah.
If you're a successful commercial photographer, you aren't trying to become a wedding photographer. But with this whole AI thing, wedding and portraits is like the only thing that's going to survive. So those jobs are just going to go away, and wedding photographers will rule the world.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the newest Critique the Community. We are finally back in the same location. It's been quite a while.
Yes, it has.
And this critique, we're gonna be looking at your best on-location strobe photos. So we have a bunch of those picked out here. And I just announced the newest Critique the Community for the month of March. That's going to be your most print-worthy images that would do well on a wall or in a commercial space or something like that.
I'm excited for that because we say all the time, there's incredible images, but a lot of times incredible images, I don't want hanging on my wall. They're usually too over the top or something. So I'm excited to see what you guys submit.
It's interesting because it's kind of the broadest genre we could do. Like anything goes, but then there is that little element to it where an amazing photo might not be print worthy, but then something that might not, could there be something that's not portfolio worthy that's print worthy? I don't think so. It's
yeah, I mean, we're gonna have a lot of debates, I'm sure, with this next one. You can sign up right now totally for free at fstoppers.com/contests, but let's go ahead and get to this one.
This is some kiteboarding, which is an extremely difficult thing to photograph in a compelling way, and then also light. To use strobes on a lot of extreme sports where they could be really far away and they're moving really fast, and it's at night where you have to focus. Imagine this shot with no light at all. You're having to focus on that. It can be extremely challenging. So, and I liked it because I've shot a lot of this, and you do this every day. So I feel like maybe not every day.
Every day it's windy, I try. This is a super cool shot. There's, I don't want to say there's a debate, but usually it's good to have the kite in the shot, so you can kind of see the entire scene. But for a trick like this, he kind of needs the kite super high, and so it's very difficult to, if you were to zoom out and capture him, he's gonna be a little ant.
And the moon's gonna be a dot.
And I feel like the moon in this shot is the interesting part of this. In a way, I might even want to be zoomed in a little bit more. I mean, you'd be losing that super cool light on the water and, getting to see the splash coming off that jump. But, having the guy that close to the moon is super interesting. I don't think I've seen another kite shot like that.
Now, when you say this trick can't be done lower in the sky or, with a different lens, are you able to see do you know what that trick is? Do you know what they're doing?
Well, okay.
Because that's always the challenge that I have is trying to capture something in a frame where it's also recognizable to people who do the sport because you're taking a sliver of time out, right?
For that, in that case, no. I have no idea what's going on. I've been kiteboarding a long time, and I can do some jumps and I can do some little rolls, but I'm not doing any crazy moves. Now, if you want to get really high, usually you kind of need, you need to go one way, you need to send the kite the other way, but you need the kite pretty high in the air. After you get up to the highest point, you can do what's called kite looping, where you bring the kite down towards the water, and then you hope and pray that you can loop it up fast enough so that before you crash down to your death, the kite is back up in the air and you swing to safety. That is a move that I personally do not do. I'm gonna imagine that this guy, based on his height here, is capable of doing that. And so, in theory, if he kite looped out of this, he could kite loop the kite down, and then potentially you could have the kite border, and the moon all in one shot.
I don't know that I've ever captured a photo where the kite is below the rider. Like, that sounds amazing.
Really?
I mean, maybe I have, but it wasn't something that it was a keeper.
Okay,
It happened, and it was like, oh, and I didn't really get it. I feel like as somebody who shoots a lot of kiteboarding or has in the past, it's always, I'm having to tell the athletes to do the lamest stuff because the lamest stuff looks the best on camera. And I'm usually not shooting telephoto. I feel like I've done a lot of that, and that's the easiest route to go. But I feel like the most compelling shots are super wide angle, as close to the action as you can get. And then you have an issue where your gear is in danger, you're in danger, you're usually treading water or trying to find a place where you can stand. And it's a much more difficult shooting situation.
Yeah.
But then you can get the rider close to the camera, and they can send their kite many times further back, and you get the kite in the shot.
Right.
But you can't have them do any kind of aerial acrobats because now they're too far away, and it's very, very difficult. So I've always resorted to shooting kind of lame stuff and making it look as exciting and in your face as you can.
I think one of my Facebook profile pictures from like 15 years ago is a picture you took of me kiteboarding, and I love that shot. We can post it here. The kite is in the shot, and it's strobed like this. And I think it looks cool, but it's the lamest, littlest jump and grab ever, but that's what you wanted to get it all in the shot.
Yeah, because I would have all these guys come right at me, they're cut right here, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're way up there doing something cool, and you're like, now it's a guy in the sky shot, and the strobe's not in the right position. It's just, when you're shooting with strobes like this, everything's got to be planned so perfectly. And let's talk a little bit about the lighting here. So it seems like they're in an area where there's an inlet. They're on land. There's some kind of water park or man-made, naturally made inlet, and then there's an island or more land on the other side, which allows you to then put your light or your assistant in a really safe area.
So, dude, he says the second light camera left is floating on a pool float.
What?
How do you do that? And how do you keep it from just floating away? I don't know if he's got an anchor for the pool float. I don't know how that works.
So I used to blow up tubes that you put behind a boat because they're so stable, right?
Yep.
And they're deep. Now they will fill up with water in the middle, but there could be a way to put something in there.
But it's still floating, right?
It's still floating, but it's on, if the float's the size of this desk and you're in an area without waves.
Yeah, but it's 30-mile-an-hour winds.
I mean,
I just would think that immediately it would just be gone.
No, if you put it on a light stand in a modifier, trust me, I don't like that idea. I like somebody to then be with the raft as well.
Yeah, I wonder if somebody's standing there with it.
It gives you some options, but...
Let's rate this. 3, 2, 1.
I'm between a 3 and a 2. You're on a 4.
I don't know. I'm probably being a little bit too generous. I think that I'm compromised because not only do I do this sport, but I've also done a decent amount of kiteboard photography, and I know how unique this shot is, but that's probably not fair. It's probably in between a 2 and a 3. But I don't know. If you were an extreme sports photographer, this certainly is good enough to be in a portfolio, don't you think? And that would be 3.
I'm tempted to say no.
Whoa, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
I feel like, a lot of this, it's the location and the scene is so extreme. You got mountains, and it's just like, whoa, where are they? I don't like that you see one leg. Kind of looks like a weird kind of leg position. I don't like that you can't see the kite. I can't see any of the branding of the clothing and all of the apparel. And
it says shot right on his back.
I know, but it's so small.
That's pretty big.
Not enough for an ad. Not enough to be printed. I don't know. I've taken so many shots like this. Maybe not with the moon. And, as it starts to get at this, I'll throw some of my portfolio up there, and you guys can tell me how horrible I am and I'm out of my mind. But I just feel like I've taken a lot of shots like these, and these are the ones that I just keep saying no. Like, I'll wind up with 100 shots out of 2,000, and then when I start narrowing the 100 down, these are kind of the shots that I'm throwing out. And maybe you'll argue that the 5 or 10 that I say were the best from that entire session are kind of lame. It's you close to the camera holding the board, and it's nothing too crazy. I just say those are the most graphic, most beautiful, well-done photos, and stuff like this kind of gets thrown off to the side. So
I will say there's 2 people critiquing these types of photos, and it might be the average person like you who doesn't do the sport, and then there's probably pro writers that know exactly what trick he's doing and how difficult this is and how high he is and all this stuff. And they are probably looking at it completely differently than we are. I'm probably right in the middle, you know?
I just wonder if those pro athletes can look at this and say, that is the beginning or end of this thing.
The thing with kiteboarding is you have so much airtime that you can do like 100 tricks before you touch the water. But, you know, he's pulling one foot out and he's really high. That's the trick right now.
Yeah. Well, I go back to like it's difficult to focus and maintain focus at night. And it's hard to get the strobes to fire anytime you add water. I feel like the strobes fail half the time.
Yep.
So it's a very challenging way to shoot, but it's also kind of the easiest way to do it because if this gets any brighter, you start shooting at the end of the day, your strobes are just not powerful enough to do anything. So you're kind of forced to shoot in this twilight era where you still have some light in the sky, but your strobes are able to do the thing and freeze the action. So I don't know. My goal, I always wanted to have bigger lights and to be able to do something where I'm using the sun and strobe, but that just becomes even more challenging. But I don't know. I'm like a 2.5. I think it's got potential. This photographer, Andre, I think he had 2 other submissions. I think I like this one the most, but that's not to say that some of the other images maybe we would have liked more.
All right, we spent way too much time on this image. Let's move on.
All right, so here we have some sort of long exposure camera trickery. And I am the first to admit that I am not very good with a long exposure. When I try to do stuff like this...
Oh, I just realized there's this second version of them on the left.
Yeah. I feel like I fail at this, and I never would feel comfortable and confident enough to like pull this off during a paid shoot unless there had been so much practice and like I knew exactly what we were doing. But this looks almost like this is Jason Vincent.
He's a great wedding photographer. I mean, this is super interesting.
I dare I say Jason is one of the most talented wedding photographers when it comes to lighting. I think I consistently see his work and think, wow, like how did he pull that off?
I think we were recently doing a critique for Pro Photo, and we were talking about this. Like, I never had the mentality on a wedding day, like, let's take some risks right now. That was the last thing on my mind. I was like, let's just knock out, you know, the standard shots as good as I can. Jason's portfolio is like one unique shot after another. I don't know that I've seen another image like this before. I mean, you know, it almost feels like, it's so offensive now, it almost feels like some AI generated thing now, but it's real. And he says he used a constant light for the shutter drag and then a flash in multiple mode, you know, so you like, when you fire it, it'll fire more than once, I guess twice in this case, to fire it at the beginning and then end of this camera movement. So it's getting the couple frozen with the 2 flash pops, but then where's this color coming from? Like, I don't even understand what I'm looking at here.
Well, the color's got to be the constant light, but why is the top of his head fuchsia and the middle of his head blue and she's yellow? It almost feels like it's some weird like LED stick that has multiple colors. Yeah. I think that's what it is.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm looking at it thinking, okay, I see the flash pop on the right-hand side because I can see some detail on their ears and stuff, I think.
Yeah.
And I understand the backlit flash pop on the left to some degree, but my mind is wondering, how do you get the black space? Do you start there?
I don't know.
The flash pop starts there, but the person is on this side of the frame. Man, I'm like totally... It shouldn't be that hard to understand what's going on here, but I am kind of confused.
Let's rate it.
All right.
3, 2, 1, 4.
I'm going to give this a solid 4. This is cool, interesting, and I don't know if this is that repeatable. This feels like you just do this 20 times and hope that one of them...
And he does say it was taken in the living room of an Airbnb. And they're obvious. She's not in a wedding dress. So, you know, at least in my mind, maybe he has a little bit more time to play than he would on a wedding day.
I could also see, though, doing this indoors could be tougher because you're going to have a lot of spill with all these strobe lights firing and a constant light involved. I could just see where like even pulling the blacks all the way down.
Well, maybe you got to just do it at night and you got to be in a big room. I don't know. You're blowing my mind with this one, Jason. You know, as like a standalone commercial image, I don't really know what this is. I don't really know the value. Like, it seems like this could be, I don't even want to guess. I don't even really know. But when I think about this from the perspective of an artistic wedding photographer, this is like so cool.
What do you think? I know I'm about to like completely diminish the whole entire trick here, but what do you think if you just crop out the left-hand side and leave just the people here with the streaming going through? Like, that looks so graphic to me. I almost, I like that more than seeing the negative side? It almost looks like a different guy. It's like his profile has changed just enough, or because it's inversed, it almost looks like a different person, but that right side is so cool.
It does. The right does look better than the left, no doubt. I mean, when I first saw this, all I saw was the right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like the left makes it even more badass from a technical photography standpoint, but from a actual like image standpoint, the right side is the strength.
I'm even doing the opposite now. I'm taking out the right side to where you have to look at the left, and I feel like that's pretty strong on its own too. So I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's great the way it is, and I think it would be great if you cropped either side out. Like, that's pretty cool. Let's move on.
I wonder if Jason has like a YouTube tutorial on this.
Yeah,
it would be interesting.
He should make one if he.
How he actually did that. That's really cool. In picking some of these images, I dove a little deeper down. Normally, you get to a point on the critique where you can tell where the quality kind of falls short, and the images become 2 stars, maybe even 1 stars. Yeah. There's a lot of nudity and weird stuff that you're just like, we're not going to include that. It's just strange, right? I did
see a strange
some snapshots, that sort of stuff. This image was, and some of these others we might see, were further down than sometimes I go. And there was something about this that, I think we're not going to rate this like a 5, but there was something just about it that I felt like stood out a little bit more than some of the other ones that were rated above it. And now that I'm looking at this in this environment, I don't even know that I noticed the guy in the bottom corner when I first saw this image. But
let's rate it and then we'll talk. 3, 2, 1.
Between a 2 and a 3.
Me too. I'm in between a 2 and a 3. There's like, I don't know. I love the look of this location. I think I like the girl's outfit.
Oh, I see now. He's playing the piano.
Right.
Okay, I thought he was a spectator.
My 2 critiques, I just feel like she looks a little, I don't know if awkward's the right word, but she's like in between the shot that I want. I want a little bit more confidence out of her expression, and it just feels like she's maybe in the middle of singing some weird syllable, and I want like 1 second after this or 1 second before this. It's just not the best facial expression. And then, it's kind of hard to see here, but do you want the shadows a little pulled up? Is it a little, like the fact that you couldn't even see the guy in the bottom right? Like, I can't even really see her boots down there. Does that bother you, or do you like it this contrasty?
I keep thinking, do I want to not even see the guy? Like, is it more about the performance and 2 people in this image, or is it about her being spotlit on top of the piano?
Both of their outfits are so busy that it's kind of like taking away, and her hat. It's just like so much that I want it to be this like rustic Western shot, but it's that with crazy like Las Vegas clothing, which is taking me out of it just a little bit. That's an interesting crop.
Yeah, I just keep cropping in tighter.
That feels better to me.
And then it kind of makes it feel like the cowboy hat is a spectator watching her.
I like that. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it almost looks like she's singing karaoke and she just completed the last lyric and now she's reading and preparing.
Right.
It's like you want her to be like in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's something to just the color scheme, just this really warm, and then the pinks. It just has a cool vibe to it.
No doubt. No doubt.
What kind of portfolio? Like, this is starting to get into like, I mean, I guess you could just say this is like a wedding photo. This is like at the rehearsal dinner.
You know what's crazy though? we come from a wedding photography background, so we're allowed to say this, right?
I don't know what you're about to say.
It's like if we're a certain race, we could say something negative about ourselves.
Is that true? I don't know.
About ourselves,
I don't know.
not your wife. I cannot.
I'm in a weird situation where my son is mixed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can he say things that I can't say to my wife that it's
and to you.
Yeah.
He can do whatever he wants. But everyone since the beginning of wedding and portrait photography has kind of looked down on wedding and portrait photographers, right? Okay. Like I think all wedding photographers secretly wish they could be fashion and commercial photographers, right?
Yeah, there's a hierarchy.
Like there's no, if you're a successful commercial photographer, you aren't trying to become a wedding photographer, right?
No.
If you're failing, maybe you do, like it's a last resort type thing. But with this whole AI thing, wedding and portraits is like the only thing that's going to survive.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of fashion photographers. I think that industry is like dead. Like the big side of it, the making $100,000 a shoot side of it is all been diminished now to $5,000 day rates and $10,000 day rates, very small. It's not nearly what it used to be. And I think a lot of those guys are probably saying there are wedding photographers making more money than me shooting weddings in a way that might be, I don't want to say it's less stress, but it's less production. Sure. Once you know the system of a wedding, I don't find that stressful. It can be a little stressful logistically how to get to different places, but you know how to do that. Shooting big campaigns where there's always people looking over your shoulder and telling you how to do your job, I find that to be incredibly stressful. Yep. And then to make less money doing that, I think there are a lot of people that are jumping into photography, wedding photography.
I mean, yes, the price per shoot has been coming down, but I'm saying now people are just generating images. It's like they're not even real models anymore, right? Yeah. Like if I have a product, I don't pay somebody to take pictures of my new iPhone. I generate it with CGI, right? Yeah. I generate it with AI and it looks better than any photo. So those jobs are just going to go away and wedding photographers will rule the world. I don't know why I'm pointing at this like it's from a wedding, but you brought it up.
All right,
Moving on.
Move on. All right, so here we're still kind of sticking in the event photography space. And what's wild about this shot is I'm trying to figure out, one, is this like kind of with the last shot, these should be using strobe. I don't know if the photographer mentioned that they used a strobe with this, but that's the whole critique that we're doing.
Something that looks like it.
This one's kind of the same way, where this feels like it's taken on a phone with just a direct flash that happened to pop, But it could also just be the stage lighting in the room. You know what I mean? Like this could be a natural lit shot that just happens to have light falling on this person because the door opened.
The lighting was perfect other than the hat being the main focal point was too dim, so I popped out my Godox V1 with a grid to control the spill, and I had another fan hold it and angle it and created the perfect glow on the hat. The atmosphere was everything, which makes a great photo, but that little bit of spice just made it even better.
So this person would have been just like the girl next to them, where they'd be totally dark or near dark. And what's wild about this is this person probably doesn't even know they're subject of the photo. Right?
Maybe.
Would they say this is the concert photographer, or this was just somebody at the show?
And
they're the house photographer.
And it was taken at a Skillet concert. I thought, oh, surely he means Skrillex. But no, now I look at the hat. It literally says Skillet. Let's rate it.
All right. So this is for like the concert photographer side, I guess.
3, 2, 1. For concert photography, I'm going 4 on this.
Yeah.
If I was this band,
this is
I am so using this photo forever. The fact that we are performing in the background with this perfectly lit logo of our hat and everybody's, watching us, I just feel like this is such a cool shot.
And it's so different, Every band's got the shot of them performing, but they don't and they have shots of the fan from their perspective, like looking back at the crowd.
Yeah.
But a shot like this is really the only way to get this shot. I mean, I guess you could have the shot with everyone's hands up, they're all backlit. But to have your logo on there is pretty unique.
Well, it's just lucky the dude's wearing the hat backwards, right? Or this shot wouldn't work. But, I mean, think about having a product shot for your merch this is like the greatest merch photograph I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, right place, right time, and then great idea with the flash pop.
I mean, maybe I would love to see the stage lit up or the screens on and there's like more backlight coming towards the person.
And if the camera went a little bit higher, you'd be able to see the band. Maybe you could argue that's important, but even the way it is right now, I find this very captivating for some unknown reason.
I think though, if you raise the camera too much, it starts to diminish the person.
Yeah, it feels like this is all about that hat.
And I don't even know, you could lower the camera and not really even show the band. I don't think you need the band. I think it's, you can just, you just know. You can imagine.
You just know.
Well, I mean, you just imagine, infer that the person is at the show. I mean, this person could be like at a book reading and you're still going to be like, oh, he's at the show with the hat on. Like, that's cool. It could be another band, but he just happens to have this band's hat on. If this was an Aerosmith hat, you'd be like, how cool was that, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Really, really interesting shot.
Next. This shot's super cool. I'm having a really hard time understanding this lighting here and where these specular highlights on this sheet are coming from. I don't know what is going on, but it's cool looking. It's really cool looking.
Have you ever done a shot like this with the tulle? Was that the name of the material? Like, you know, the fabric you can see through?
No.
This reminds me, I don't think I've done something like this either, but it reminds me of a shot, I think it's by Albert Watson, the photographer that Monty Isom used to work with, who's like a legend, right? Like Albert Watson's like one of those guys. I believe he has a shot like this. I want to say we were just talking about Pro Photo. I think Pro Photo did like a behind the scenes on the shot, and it was, you know, him revisiting it or talking about it or something. But anyway, it has this tonality where it's almost infrared looking, and it's like the sheet looks like it's been inverted. Instead of being bright, it's dark, and it's got some weird filtered effect to it. And I don't know, this just maybe if I saw that image side by side, it would look nothing like this, but it does remind me.
Well, now you got to find it and post it in this critique. I love this. A couple of things that kind of bother me that I don't know how you'd possibly fix them. I find the highlight on this fabric fascinating. It's definitely a little much on her face.
Yeah.
Don't you agree? It's like just a little too much. And then, but I don't know how to fix that. Maybe you got to take multiple shots moving that light around to just get that highlight to fall somewhere else, and then you comp them together. Do you also feel like this image needs a little bit of post-processing? Like, does it feel it needs a little more contrast?
I don't know. I kind of like it where it's at, but I wouldn't be opposed. Like, her arm is going pretty black, and the highlights are pretty white. But then it's like from those two extreme areas, everything else does kind of fall in this like very middle tonality.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like... Would you want the sky to be darker or brighter?
I don't know.
Gradient?
Yeah, I might want the gradient just to be like... You know what I do now to every picture? And you know I'm the world's worst retoucher, so don't take my advice. But it's the subject select in Photoshop and in Lightroom. Now that you can just immediately select the subject, on every single image I take, I just change the contrast or the brightness and sometimes the color of the subject and change it a little bit versus the background. And you can just get people to pop off that background so easy. I mean, gosh, just a few years ago, you'd have to like pin tool the people out and go around every little hair, you know, on their head. Now it's just one button and you're making sliders and it looks incredible.
It's an interesting way to edit because when you try to get it all right in camera, there's still those purists who are like, get it right in camera.
Idiots.
And it's like what you're doing, what you just described doing can't be done in camera, right? Because you used to light your subject separately from the ambient, and that was getting it right in camera. Just use extra lighting and do it in camera. But when you start to like add clarity slider to the background or less clarity to blur the background, and you want to make the background a little bit different color than the subject, yes, you could have gelled the strobe. But you can do these like really minor things that make a huge difference when you start editing that way.
Yeah.
It's just a really interesting way to manipulate your photos that really I feel like no one did before, because like you said, it took so much effort.
So hard.
It was so hard to pin tool the personality that you would never do it just to like tweak it a little bit, you know? And so I do the same thing. Sometimes I add more contrast to her, but then maybe I would soften the background more. Right. It's like I go different directions with the edit.
Right. What do I want to rate it? All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Like, yeah, I want to give this a 4 or even a 5, but I just feel like I want the face to be better.
I kind of am thinking if I would want her to like be in a crazier pose. Like, I don't know how you would do this. If there's an optical illusion to lean forward more to where it looks like, whoa, she's like leaning into the wind, or like you do it knowing you're about to have to step and like, you know, break the pose, but like the photographer got it at the most extreme angle, you know.
Like the Michael Jackson.
Something to where it just adds this extra element to where she is doing something cool and the sheet's doing something interesting.
You like that highlight below her hand? I feel like I do. It's just a little hot.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love all the tonality behind her in the sheet. That looks great.
Yeah, that looks really good.
So there was a technique that some of the photographer instructors were doing during our Bahamas workshop, where they would put a polarizer on the strobe, and they could polarize the light as opposed to polarizing the lens. And I'd never even thought about that. I wonder if that's something you could do, where you could polarize the light, or maybe
I don't even understand what's happening when you do that.
It's just changing the way the light's hitting and then bouncing back. And it affects the specular highlights without affecting all of the lighting in the scene. But
let's continue.
So I feel like this image has a lot going for it and a lot of cool production elements, but I'm kind of like wanting those elements to come together in a way that just makes this a stronger image. It just kind of feels like he's lounging by the car and not doing enough. Do you agree or disagree? Or
what do you want him to do?
I don't know. I mean, he could be doing anything. He could be like fixing his collar. He could be putting the jacket on. He could be, you know, flashing a badge. He could be selling drugs. I don't know. I was just in a situation in Charleston where I walked by people that were clearly selling drugs from the street to a car. And it was like the weirdest thing to like walk through in a very busy, it was on King Street. It was in the busy area. And they were just like calling out like drug names. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. Like, it's been a while since I've found myself in a situation like that. And it certainly hasn't happened in a very like popular part of town like that, you know?
You heard about the drug dealer here, right?
No.
My son's tennis coach, who I was friends with, he just got arrested for selling fentanyl and guns.
What?
Yeah, he's like my 4-year-old's tennis coach.
Well, I just jumped in an Uber for the first time, as your advice.
Yeah.
It took me 25 minutes to get the Uber, but I got in the Uber. Nicest guy ever. And then he just said, we're talking about living in Puerto Rico, and he just like says, yeah, I walked out without my license, which is a problem. I don't have my wallet because I got my gun on me. And I'm like, oh, okay. You got a gun in the Uber, you know, without the license. If we get pulled over, like, that's a huge offense here. And just kind of, I don't know.
I think you can have is it open or concealed carry? Like Moreno, he walks around everywhere with a gun. He
acted like he needs his license, though, to be able to do that.
I see.
He, like, doesn't have his wallet on him, so.
All right, back to photography here.
Is there something you feel like he could be doing that I didn't mention?
I just wonder if this would be more interesting if he wasn't looking directly at the camera. If he was looking further to his right, past the camera. He was looking like camera left. Would that be more interesting? And then there's like some wrinkles on the suit that just make it look not quite as put together as I want. And then there's that car to the left, that black car that I want.
Yep.
I want that out of there. There's like some Prius white car in the far left middle. I want that out of there. The person walking across the street on the right, I don't know if I want them in there or not.
I kind of like him there.
Maybe that's okay.
It kind of adds to like, it feels like he's jaywalking in a busy intersection. It adds a little danger to the scene, which I kind of like.
I don't know. I feel like I like the lighting. I like the dark sky. Everything else I'm kind of with, but
So the lighting, obviously, to have that shadow casting down on the car, the sun's up above, right? And then that means the light is off camera to the right, firing in as like a rim light on him. Is that our we haven't really been talking a lot about on-location lighting. That's the whole theme of this critique, but...
And that's, yeah. I guess you're right.
I like what it's doing to the outfit, but I almost want a second light lighting him a little bit more, or I want that light around. I don't know. There's something about the majority of his face being in shadow. If I zoom in, maybe if I zoom out, it's not as
I feel like his pose looks pretty good to me. Car looks cool. I just, like, doesn't like the wrinkly suit kind of mess with you? Or does that not bother you? Like, the pants, they look fine to me. It's just right where the buttons are. It looks like, oh, I just need an iron to hit that or something.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the other cars, if this is a shot you could have taken on a tripod, or you probably could just hand hold it and then like layer it in Photoshop and let AI or masking do its thing.
Well, now generative fill will do that in a half second. Although you got that sign with the text on it.
Yeah, do you find yourself like going into Photoshop and editing the old slow way, the correct way that you used to?
Never.
Really? I will find myself like doing something and being like, why didn't I just do that with AI?
Why didn't you just use generative fill? I just open Photoshop now to use generative fill, and then I close Photoshop.
All right, did we give this a rating?
I don't think so.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
3.
Yeah. I
Do you feel like this is a little too HDR-ish? That this image you want more, maybe on the car, especially with the gray.
Yeah.
Do you want more dodging and burning to where you could kind of pull this out? Like maybe it's the clouds above in the sky that make it feel a little like, do you even need the sky? Like, can you do something to kind of get rid of?
I think I like that crop better. I think I like that better.
And that solves the Prius on the left.
Yep.
That kind of makes it more about him, and it keeps the kid that I like in there.
There you go.
So just a little tighter crop was the answer.
Next shot.
This is like the law. Like these shots almost play off each other. It's like the law enforcement being like, "We're gonna get him," and that's the guy. He kind of feels like law enforcement, but maybe he's the
undercover.
He's undercover, and then here's the one on the beach who's like trying to keep everyone safe as well. What do you think's going on here? Do you think this is their friend, or this is somebody just going up to a police truck, or are they actually doing a photo shoot with the police while they're working, or this was done for them? I don't know. I'm thinking a lot about how this was actually organized.
I don't think a normal police officer is down. I think they would get in trouble if they were doing a photo shoot while they were on duty. And so I am reading here. So I called my friend, who is a harbor patrol officer, and asked her to meet me at the beach for a quick portrait. The clouds did not disappoint.
So did you say show up wearing your police uniform?
Guess so. And if it's her, maybe she has access to the truck, or she gets to take that home, because the truck is like almost more of a subject than her. This isn't really a shot without the truck. Flash used was a Godox V1N. I don't even know what that is. Using an X2N trigger and a Photix 85mm octabox. Are we ready to rate it?
I think so.
3, 2, 1.
I'm a 3. You're a 3.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is kind of an example of what I was suggesting for the last shot. She's not looking at the camera, and I think it's stronger for that. This photographer claims the weather and the clouds are real, so that looks incredible. You know, imagine if this was just a plain blue sky. You would have so swiped past this image, you wouldn't have even considered it. But those clouds really make this image.
I keep thinking, it's like the car is the subject here in many ways. How can we simplify?
Do you think this could be cropped as a vertical image on her?
I think you need the Santa Monica police in there.
I know.
And if you crop, all of a sudden you just get the F-150 and the harbor, and it doesn't feel, it needs that police in there. But could you go tighter and just make it less about the truck?
I do like that too.
I tend to like portraits tighter. I mean, like, so let's say this was shot, maybe she said, but let's just say it's shot at 24 millimeters. If you could crop to make it look like it was shot at 50 millimeters,
yeah.
I feel like that might make it a little stronger. For presentation, I don't think there's really a problem. Like with the megapixels that we have now, you know, the megapixel wars, they're still going strong.
Are they?
They're really, they've been steady for a while, but we've blown up to we have 150, 200 megapixels now.
Who does that?
I mean, those medium format cameras, I think, are going up there, but
well, maybe with like pixel shift or something.
But you start shooting, 50 megapixels, why not shoot a little wider and have the ability to crop? But for a presentation like this, I don't know. I feel like it's just so hard to just show the entire truck because it becomes like, I'm guilty of this too. You see the object and you just want it in the frame, shoot wide and capture it all. You always have clients who are like, let's shoot with the fountain. And you're like, but if we blur the fountain and make it just a small element off to the edge, it can give the feeling of a fountain without you having to blatantly just show it, in the middle. I feel like that's kind of what this image is suffering with.
Next up. Now, I saw this earlier, and I said, haven't we seen this image? But you said, no, I think we saw a ski image that looked like this.
Yes, yes.
Could it be the same photographer?
So I think we're going to revisit the same critique we had months ago. The question was, how in the world do you have the light where it is? It seems like they are on top of a light on a light stand, or they have a light strapped to them that you're able to fire, which is kind of a clever technique, but there's no other way to get this shot. You're not supplying the light outside the frame. It's literally the light's coming from inside this plume of...
2 Godox lights were used at full power each in the middle of the day. That's pretty wild. One strobe was mounted to a chest harness, while the second was rigged to the skier's avalanche airbag pack.
Wow, okay. I would have never thought to do that.
No, I wouldn't either.
Because every shot you fire without...
The snow is a loser.
Yeah, it's going to look weird.
Yeah, that is super cool.
I wonder what the critique we had with the previous image, if we were left not knowing. Because I don't know that has stuck to my mind of how to do this. You were just skiing for like, what, 3 or 4 weeks?
I was.
This feels so good! That's amazing. So good. Yeah, that is my dream run right there.
I went to France, to Chamonix.
Oh yeah, I forgot you went out
with a couple of friends. We did that for a week.
How was that?
It was incredible. I mean, it was. It wasn't the best snow conditions, but it was still great for me.
Is that high altitude? Or
man, I can't remember.
Isn't it awful when you go skiing and you're like...
Well, it's funny, like, you know how certain things are, like, super important to people? That, like, some people, the altitude really affects them, and so they're, like, always worried about how high they are. I don't think I've ever experienced the altitude thing, so I never consider it.
But you like being on the tips of the mountains and seeing the cliffs and stuff,
Oh,
right?
I mean, the views were, I think, the best I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
And then the town we were in was just so unique, just the opposite of every ski resort in the United States. It's hard to even explain. And the price, I mean, to ski in the U.S. now is like $250 a day. And then there it was, I think it was like 60 or 70 euros a day to ski in like the craziest. So that was amazing. And then I went to Salt Lake City for 3 weeks with my family to teach my son how to ski. And he got it. He loves it, which is super cool to see. So now.
But then you went somewhere else too. Did you go to like Montana?
We drove to Montana on that trip, and I did Big Sky as well, which was probably the nicest ski resort I've ever been to.
All right, this is it, boys. I have discovered the greatest snow on Earth in Big Sky, Montana. This is unbelievable. Soft, dry. The whole mountain is like this.
So you got your.
I got an icon pass, so that's why I'm just hitting the places that I'm allowed to go.
That's the problem with skiing in the United States is like all these ski resorts have been bought up by these companies to where they kind of figured out that to buy the pass only makes sense if you ski 10 days or 2 trips, and if you don't do that, then you're still paying $250 a day and it's expensive. So if you got the icon pass.
Yeah, which is so expensive. The pass was like $1,200, but I can go to like 30 different ski resorts. Luckily, my son, who went with me almost every day, he was free. So that saved me like thousands of dollars.
Well, soon he'll be doing this.
Hopefully. All right. Let's rate it.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Between like a 3 and a 4.
Okay, I was thinking in between a 4 and a 5. Like
I think I want it's tough. Like I want to see the tips of all those. of the trees, but like there's just something to where I want to be closer into this. I don't know if I could just.
I didn't even think about that, but as I watch you crop in,
Can I do that?
That looks pretty badass. I mean, the soft lighting off that snow bouncing back onto his face in those goggles looks so good. I mean, you know, he's being lit by this softbox from below. It looks perfect.
Yeah.
So I love this shot. It's going to be funny if we've already critiqued this. We can go back and compare what we said previously, but this looks awesome to me.
I wonder how many times you position yourself. I mean, maybe you're skiing with them and you're just going ahead and you're constantly doing this over and over. I just keep thinking, like, how many times did the strobe fire through the snow and get flaring into the camera?
Yeah,
It just feels like there's a huge chance for failure.
Yep.
But you also don't want to be dependent on them coming back around. Like, they can't come back around. You'd be out there for 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine walking back up the mountain in that deep
No,
of snow?
Yeah, you got to be skiing with them and just finding like little area. I mean, if you're tree bashing, you're just like going a little bit ahead, and then come on, and then all right, let's do it again. I'll go ahead, but super cool image. I mean, this might be the most clever use of strobe light in the whole critique here.
Watch out, Jason Vincent.
So this image just felt a little weird, and I don't know, like it's kind of like over the top what she's doing and suggestive that it's. If she was just holding ice cream, seductive.
What is she suggesting, Patrick?
She's just suggesting that it's an extremely hot afternoon and that you want strawberry sherbet. You want to eat it the way she's eating it. I don't know. That's what I take from it. But it's
okay.
It doesn't feel like suggestive in a cheesy way. It's like kind of over the top. And it's starting to feel like it's got a double meaning, like this is blood or something. Like she's a villain in this. I'm just reading more into it than like your average vixen sexy shoot that you're trying to do with somebody. I'm getting this like over the top vibe that has some other undertones on it that I like a lot, and I feel like the pool and the grass, all that's coming together to kind of give it a higher production feel. Maybe I could critique that you could clean up the grass on the left and make that line a little more like pristine. Very nitpicky. Her hair, I don't like the disheveled hair on the left.
Yeah.
Her right, the left of the image. I feel like that could be like a little, maybe just pushed back.
What's that dot under her camera left elbow?
It's like a drip, or it's a bug, or a dirt.
I don't know. That needs to come out. But
and then I keep looking. What is on the far right? Is she wearing weird boots or something? There's like black.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of strange.
Huh.
Maybe you could just like fill the black between her legs as white, and then try to get rid of the black. I don't know. It's kind of nice that it's dark in that corner, and it kind of keeps your eye towards her. But then when my eye does make it down to that part of her legs, I'm kind of like, what is that? What's going on there?
I think it's kind of cool. You know, we got that super harsh, fashiony lighting. They say it was taken with a Profoto D2 with a Profoto Fresnel Small. I'm trying to even think of what that modifier looks like. We don't own one of those.
I have a Fresnel so Profoto has so many different lighting modifiers now for so many different size strobes.
Yeah.
In this critique, somebody is getting the A2, which is their Coke can size strobe. And for that, they make different modifiers. I think I have a Fresnel for that. Did you do the shoot with the girl in San Juan with the wedding dress? We put her on the rocks. But I used it's like it's a focusing lens.
I mean, I got a Fresnel right there on this big one that's lighting us.
Yeah. So it's giving a hard light with a spotlight effect.
My critique here, I like the concept. It's funny. It's interesting. I don't know that I love her expression. And this is another example similar to the girl singing where I'm like, I feel like you've got this shot here. Now, let me see the shot right before this and right after this. Because she's just a little crooked with the jaw and everything. I feel like her eyes look great. But like the hand is a little like too extended. You know, I just want her to... Remember Tyra Banks and America's Next Top Model or whatever? She would like go so deep into the model's pose. I'd look at it and be like, that photo's awesome. And then she'd be like, your hand looks horrible. And I feel like it doesn't look horrible here, but I just feel like it could be a little bit tighter.
I feel like the hand holding the cone looks so relaxed and cool with the peace fingers showing, you know, and then the
I
left.
kind of want more blood on her hand. But I like
the left hand, the licking hand. You're right. Like it's almost like it's like too extended.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was like more relaxed.
All right, let's move on. Have we rated this?
I don't know if we did.
All right, let's do it.
Let's rate it again.
3, 2, 1. I'll go 3 on this.
Yeah, I'm a 3.
But I would like to see some outtakes.
What do you think for lighting? Is it pretty close to the camera?
Yeah.
This is a 2-light setup, right? The sun is clearly lighting the majority of this. And I would look at like the shadows on the chair to try to figure that out.
I don't know where the sun's coming from. It's hard to figure out.
But then with the light on her
shoulder. I think the
shoulder,
sun's coming from
behind.
above and behind. You can see it on her hair.
and then this like highlight on her shoulder makes me think the strobe is like kind of close to the camera, firing down.
Yeah.
Cool lighting.
Final shot. This was taken by A.C. Daly, and he says, warm, gelled alien bee outside the window, aimed into camera to simulate the sun. I feel like that's doing a very convincing job. Second, neutral alien bee outside, aimed at the subject. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Well, I'm sorry. What was the second one?
So there's one flaring. That's
Yep.
just a kicker light, and
Same side, so just like further
yeah,
around.
but further to the camera left is
Yeah.
another light, which is the key light.
Yeah, so it's just able to wrap around and light from the left side.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I don't know that I would have thought to do that, but now seeing this image, like, yeah, of course, that's how you should light this.
I
looks
mean, I feel like
natural.
when we did that tutorial with Clay Cook, he was very adamant about that. Like constantly using multiple lights from the same side to kind of like fool your eye into believing it's all coming from the same.
Yeah.
And I do that now with the sun. Like many times I would put my strobe opposite of the sun. And you can definitely get an effect like that. But my first go-to now is put the strobe on the same side as the sun. May not be in the same position. It might be kind of like this where you're lighting from two different angles. But when you light from the same side as the natural light, it fools your mind into not seeing the second strobe. You know?
I agree. I feel like my only critique here is this guy feels a little bit uncomfortable to me. And obviously, you know, he's an artist. You can read it on his shirt. He's not a professional model. I get that. It's not horrible by any means. But it's a little posy, just a little bit. I want something more out of his expression. But other than that, I love this. And like the way that light is hitting everything on the desk in front of him looks so good.
I think so. Throughout this critique, I've been doing a lot of cropping. And I think something you mentioned is kind of interesting where I think you could tighten the crop and make this even stronger. But because his expression is kind of not very strong, I had this issue with the girl, the police officer, leaning up against the car. She kind of had a strange expression. But when you're zoomed out, you didn't really notice it. But if you start zooming in too much, it starts to become more apparent.
Yep.
This is the same sort of thing where he feels a little like too soft, little goofy, like a little like, I don't know.
Not quite as confident as we want.
Right. And so cropping in might make the image stronger, but then it kind of weakens it because of his expression. So
let's rate it. 3, 2, 1.
I'm going to give a solid 3.
3, I agree. It's definitely a solid image and should definitely be in your portrait portfolio. All right, let's deliberate and figure out who the winners are. All right, guys, we have deliberated. And we are taking Jason Vinson out of the running. He is a staff writer for Fstoppers. He gets access to all the tutorials he wants anyway, so...
And he has incredible gear from multiple sponsorships.
Yeah, he probably has everything he needs. So you're out of the running. Sorry, Jason, but you definitely would have made top 3, if not first place. Third place, we are giving it to Carl Markland. This skillet hat photo. I love this shot. It's so simple, but also so memorable. So you win a free tutorial from fstoppers.com/store. Send me, Lee Morris, a private message on Fstoppers. Let me know which one you want. Second place, we are giving it to Hope Gordon. This super interesting shot of a girl in fabric at Joshua Tree. Super unique. You win AC/DC's Photo Studio Ultimate 2026. And it's probably no surprise. First place, we are giving it to Kyle Sanguin. This snowboard shot is so freaking cool. And you are the winner of the ProPhoto A2 Connect kit.
Yeah, so what's interesting is, I don't know if you've used this strobe before. You can see it right there in the picture with Chris.
Do you have one of these?
I do. I have one or two of them here in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
They're like Coke can size. So I wonder, you probably aren't going to strap this to a snowboarder and risk it getting wet. But it's lightweight enough to where that would be one of the perfect strobes to take with you up on the mountain.
Yep.
Versus, something that's heavier, bigger, or just so small that, it might not be powerful enough. But
well, it seems like it's right up his alley, so that's cool. Hopefully he could use another flash like that. Once again, guys, thank you for everyone who's joined this critique, but if you would like to be a part of the next one, we want to see your most printable photographs that you've ever taken, and you can upload them right now to fstoppers.com/contest. It's completely free to join. And what can you win this next month?
Yeah, so the first place prize is a $1,000 print credit through Luma Prints.
That's pretty cool.
So they do, all this typical stuff, the fabric prints, the metal prints, photo paper and all of that, but you can print as large as you want and spend it on a few prints, or you can spend all $1,000 on tons of prints and, make gifts for friends and family and that sort of thing.
Second place is once again AC/DC's Photo Studio Ultimate 2026, and third place will be any tutorial from the Fstoppers store. Thank you for watching, guys, and we will see you next month.